A very windy edition because we're back in Wyoming. We had one of Kayla, one of Sallow. Now, we had this tradition when I was younger with my dad. He would always take me on Jeep rides. Sallow Kimball, my nephew, his grandson bought a Jeep, and we decided to go, rightfully so, on a Jeep ride.
Absolutely.
And so my dad took us on a trail that I had always remembered as a little boy, and I could never find. And so we got our navigator back, and now we're standing literally on the top of a mountain with just the most amazing view, great company, family.
This is Centennial Ridge,
Yeah.
and we're probably 9,500 feet
Yeah,
where we are.
And honestly, when you spend moments like this with family, life just doesn't get better than this, right?
It certainly does not.
All right, well, you have to tell that story, where that comes from.
Oh, God. When Greg was maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, something like that, we were in my 1947 Jeep, which doesn't have a top, doesn't have a windshield, doesn't have anything. So when you're riding in it, you are definitely right in the middle of nature.
Yep.
And we were up on top of the mountains in the summer one day 100 years ago, and it was just an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous day, as warm as it gets in the mountains, probably 75 degrees. And we were driving down a road, and Greg, just being a little guy, still had his towhead blonde hair blowing in the breeze. I'm driving down this road, which is actually a pretty nice road for the mountains, and I could see Greg out of the corner of my eye, and he was just taking it all in, just looking all around and inhaling the wonderful smells. And
I remember
and I didn't want to spoil his reverie, so I thought, I'll just keep driving and I won't say a word, and I'll see what finally happens. And we did that for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and finally he looked over at me and he said, Dad, life just doesn't get any better than this.
and it's funny. We were just talking about this because we had stopped on a road and walked, and I told my dad, I said, it's amazing how special this is, and it took me being away from Wyoming and having to live in the busyness of it all to realize how special it was, because it was just normal to me. And he looked at me and he said, well, it was normal to you. And I never realized that when I was young, I would literally want to show this place to each and everyone, because it's such a magical place. And when you get to spend it with people like your dad, people like your nephew, life really just doesn't get any better. I don't care that it's cold. I don't care that it's windy. But look at this view. We just had an amazing time getting up here, and it doesn't get better.
And there is so much history of this area right here. This was a place that they did a lot of mining for gold and whatnot, and just to the south of where we're standing, there's a big hill here, and up on top of that hill is something called the Queen Mine, and it was a real big functioning mine at one point, and what's it called, the head something, a big piece of, huge piece of lumber that went across the top of this to support all the machinery that went down into the mine, is now incorporated into my bedroom in my house.
Yeah.
So
there's a little piece of history in our cabin here.
Yeah, I've been coming up here for 50 years now, and it hasn't changed much at all.
And that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing. It's gonna be here forever.
My dad talks a lot about, he's the one who taught me, if you've been watching my podcast for a while, he's the one who taught me about right place at the right time. And I wished I could have had more awareness when I was younger to realize just how at the right place at the right time I was, getting the parents I have and getting the experiences that they gave me. And we did stuff like this. And this was not like a special, I came down and visited my dad and we got up on top of a mountain. It was a, hey, let's take 1 or 2 Jeep rides a week kind of thing. Let's go exploring kind of thing. And just the idea of it all is don't get so caught up in your past. Don't get so caught up in the future. And remember that the thing that creates both of those is the actions that you take in the moment and how present you are and how much you truly understand about what's happening to you right now.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right.
Absolutely.
We're going to go the final percent for our family. Keep having fun and crawling all over these mountains. But thanks, Dad, for hopping on a podcast.
You bet, brother.
All right.
I love you.
I love you.